Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to the March meeting for Yukon Park and Rec Board. At this time, I would ask everyone to stand for the invocation. We have Darren Hedrick from Sanctuary OK. Please remain standing for the flag salute after the invocation. Thank you.
Amen. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for tonight. We just thank you for all the people that are here. Lord, I just pray that there be a spirit of unity here tonight and all the decisions that are made. And Lord, that you just bless this town and this meeting right now. In Jesus' name, amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please call the roll.
Edwards,
Here.
Bauman,
Here.
Rhodes,
Here.
Sharp,
Here.
Nelson.
Here.
At this time, we open it up for visitors, special guests, or public comments. Do we have anyone that needs to step up and speak at this moment? Okay, we'll move on to item 6, approval of the minutes from January 15th. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Do we have any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion approved. Item 7, Park and Rec Department Report and Project Updates.
All right. Well, it has been a busy couple of months in Parks and Recreation since we last met in January. Obviously, we've had some crazy weather. We've had ice and snow and wind, and also warm enough weather for the grass to grow. So we've got it all going on, and that makes it very busy in the department, even more so than normal. So a lot going on there. We've also had a lot of events and projects going on that we'll get into, so looking forward to talking about all of that. The first one I want to talk about is the new Hillcrest Playground. If you haven't had a chance to go out and check that out, I would encourage you to do so. All the equipment is up other than the bench swings, which need some modification to them. They're going to modify those, the manufacturer is, and then get those out there, but it is open to the public now and ready to go with the swings and the monkey bars and the tire swing, and just lots of activity to go on out there. So I would encourage you to run out and check that out if you haven't had a chance to up to this point. We also finished a baseball fencing project earlier this week. That's Field 3 out at City Park. So that's the larger of the 3 fields, and we completed the full project. We've done kind of a side at a time. And so this last project was the whole outfield fence, which is a home run fence. It's a taller fence. And so they completed that. And so now you've got a thick gauge black fence all the way around it. So we intend to hopefully continue to make our way through the fields and have all those be black, the thicker gauge fencing out there as well. So part 1 of that process is done. We also completed the painting of the pickleball lines at Jackie Cooper Gym. So now we don't have to worry about the paint or about the tape and all the issues that causes with coming up, and can be a tripping hazard and those sorts of things. So that looks really nice on the courts now, and that's just in time for Senior Games pickleball. So good timing on all that, but we're excited to have that done. And then kind of the final part of the YCC door project, we added the doors a few months ago, have now painted all of the trim and everything around the doors now, and so that project is completed. So if you haven't checked that out, would encourage you to do that as well. Some current projects going on. Kimball Bay, we have a lot of work going on over there. On Monday, they started the sandblasting project over there. So they're sandblasting all the paint off the walls and the gutters and the steps and everything. They are 99% done with that, if not 100% now as of the end of today. So the next part of that process will be for them to go out and make any necessary repairs to cracks. So far, there hasn't been anything major uncovered that they've communicated with me, so that's good news on the price with that. But that's the next step, and then after they make all the repairs, they'll go through and apply the epoxy paint at that point. That's the same project that we completed at City Splash last year with great success. So really looking forward to what Kimball looks like, hopefully here in a few weeks. Additionally, with that project, we have some funds available for additional work since we are not doing the gutters this year. We had originally planned to do stainless steel gutters, have moved away from that and have some different options out there. We are going to be going to City Council for approval of a large canopy shade structure. It's called a cantilever. So looking forward to that. That will replace the metal shade structures that are currently out there. Would be much more aesthetically pleasing and should actually provide even more shade than what we've had previously. Also, as part of that project, we are going to be replacing the fencing. And with that, we're actually going to expand the deck space on that. So right now we have some bleachers that are on the outside of the pool that parents would sit up there and watch swim lessons and that sort of thing. We're actually going to include that concrete area in the deck space, extend the fence out a little wider. And then there's also some conversations about the baby pool area and making that into some deck space as well. So that process would include filling in the baby pool. At this point, it's not functional and we can't get it functional. And it's really a safety hazard to open a baby pool at this point in time with the standards that are out there as well. So the thought would be to fill in the baby pool, add turf over the top of it, add some tables, chairs, and some shade over that area as well. So that's part of what we're looking to do with that money as well. Obviously, all this is contingent on the budget and what we have in the capital budget to spend on that. But as of this point, I feel like we'll be able to do all that work within that budget. Also, we've been talking about the Jackie Cooper Gym program room. We have the flooring laid down in there. If you haven't had a chance to see that, you can look at that. And then kind of the last part of that project is working on the walls. We have some art, an art design that we're going to put on that wall that is facing the north side of the building. It has a lot of water damage to it from the past before that building was resealed. And so we're looking at covering that up and make it kind of more of an artistic design over there. So that should be done in the near future as well. Some upcoming projects, I think all of these have been mentioned, but I'll mention them again. We are working through the process of adding new signage on the front of the library and the Dale Robertson Center, kind of matching signage on both sides over there. A lot of different options out there, a large difference in price range on all of that, but trying to find something that fits it within the budget that will also look good on the building as well. So that's in process. We're also gathering quotes for a YCC exterior project. This would just be a basic repair of the stucco on the outside of the building that is breaking in several places that needs to be repaired. So that would be part of the process, and then painting that as well. We have one quote and we're waiting on 2 other quotes on that project. We'll also be replacing the entire fencing at City Park that encloses the old flag football field and the t-ball field down there. So there's a lot of fencing, a huge area that surrounds that. That was already in the works, but we also had the bench. The fence was smashed by an electric line that landed on it in the storm on Friday as well. So good timing on that. If it was going to happen, at least it was at a time where we're planning on replacing it anyways. So that's in the works. We have some quotes on that. We're also going to be adding irrigation out at Chisholm Trail Park. We've kind of have a plan for different phases on that. As long as that's approved in the capital budget, we'll continue to make our way through Chisholm Trail Park. But we have the plan in place for this year to install that. We are also currently working on kind of a rehab project of the bridge at Ranchwood that connects the parking lot on the east side to the soccer fields. So we have some new planks that'll be added in there, working through that process. And then a couple projects at Kimball. We will be resurfacing the parking lot either late April, early May, right around pool season. So looking forward to having a new parking lot out there to go along with all the other pool renovations that will be going on. And then kind of the last upcoming project that I have listed is the Kimball Pavilion. So we will be replacing those, what's out there currently, with a new pavilion this year as well, looking at some different options, whether that's a kind of a wooden structure that's out there now or more of a canopy type option that we're looking at for various parks throughout the city. So that's kind of where we are on projects. Any questions on projects before we move on? All right, jumping into athletics, we finished our basketball league a few weeks ago. Had a very successful season with the Northwest Basketball Association. We had over 470 participants in that, like I mentioned in the last meeting. So very successful season there. With spring now right around the corner, we've started with baseball and t-ball as well. So we're already back to that. It seems like it comes around really quickly, but excited to get that going. Unfortunately, some bad news on the softball league. We did not get enough participants in the softball league this year to give it a go. We had participants signed up, but they were so spread out in terms of age groups that we were going to have to put basically a 7-year-old against a 10-year-old, and we didn't feel good about the skill gap that would be with that. Unfortunately, we didn't get it going this year, but certainly we'll continue to try in upcoming years and continue with the renovations and push the word out there. But wanted to make sure, pass that along, because I know that's of interest to several of you at the softball league. Aquatic season will also be right around the corner, obviously. We're going through the process of hiring training staff now. We have a lot of different positions, from lifeguards to pool managers to concessions to swim instructors, all sorts of different positions that we're hiring for right now. So if there's any interest out there, someone looking for a job, we are hiring for aquatics. We're also hiring for camp positions with kids camp, and we're also hiring for parks laborers, all part-time positions over the summer. Aquatics is also in the process of preparing facilities, ordering supplies. We're only just a little over 2 months away from aquatic season already, so exciting to be getting close to summer. Jumping into special events, we've had 3 of our larger special events since the last meeting. We had the Daddy-Daughter Dance at the end of January. We had over 550 in attendance across several dances. One new thing we did this year is we offered a sensory-friendly dance, which was the first dance of the day, which has, the music not being played as loud, not as much of the movement of light and different things like that, just more of a quieter environment for people that are more comfortable in that environment. And so that was a nice touch, I feel, to be able to offer that to the community this year as well. Chocolate Festival, I don't know if anyone made it out to Chocolate Festival. We had a packed house at Chocolate Festival again this year. We had over 4,000 raised for both the library, Ladies Library Club, and Yukon Parks and Recreation. So I'm excited to be able to spend that money on park projects and appreciate the support of the community on that. We also had the trout fish out a few weeks back out at Welch Park. We had well over 300 in attendance, and really no additional space around the pond to fit anyone else. That's about the number that you can fit out there. So again, just like last year, we'll be considering, do we move this to having it at 2 ponds, or how do we move forward with this to allow even more participation? Upcoming events, we have the Taste of Yukon tomorrow night. Looking forward to that. We always have a great turnout for that. A lot of good local Yukon restaurants will be there. So if you don't have anything going on, would encourage you to come out for that. We also have the Yukon Senior Games that will start in early April. That'll run April 4th through April 12th. We've had good registrations already, 238 registrations. And it's exciting because it's really well spread out across the different events and not just focus on, single events, but it's really well spread out. So excited about that. And the last one we have coming up in the near future is our flashlight Easter egg hunt. This is our 3rd year of running that, so we've continued to grow on that. And so this year, as long as the weather cooperates, we'll have it outside again this year. As far as the parks go, as I mentioned, we've had a lot of cleanup over the last week, with trees down, with power lines down, just a lot of trash out in the parks. Trash cans get blown over, so a lot of cleanup. Really appreciate staff for that. And then a few weeks prior to that, we had all the ice and the snow, so there's been a lot of cleanup at facilities and across the city from staff making that happen as well. As you've probably seen, if you've been through the parks, Christmas in the park is cleaned up, so that's exciting. We got delayed a little bit those last couple weeks of February just because snow and ice. We couldn't have the crews out there with it being as cold as it was. But they did finish that a couple weeks ago, and so their focus is now shifted more towards the parks with the growing season coming up. On the program side of things, we have a lot of different programs going on. I'll just touch on a few of these. This week, with it being spring break, we have a lot of spring break activities at the recreation facilities. We have kids camp going on at the community center, and we also have a tennis camp that's going on behind the community center as well. We had 19 kids sign up for the tennis camp, which I think was really exciting. Not so exciting today with it blowing 50 miles an hour. That got moved to Friday, but not too much fun playing tennis when you got 50, 60 mile per hour winds and wind chills that are around freezing. So, but I know they're enjoying the nice weather on the other days. We also have a camp going on at Jackie Cooper that the Oklahoma City Thunder put on. So that's been an exciting camp to be able to host over at Jackie Cooper, and I know a lot of our local kids were excited to have a Thunder camp here in Yukon. Preschool indoor soccer actually starts this week. 134 participants have signed up for that. That's over at Jackie Cooper, and that's always a fun program for the little ones to really get introduced to soccer. A lot of success with our cooking classes. Our Young Chefs program is pretty much completely full. I'm excited about that and the growth of our cooking classes. And then another new program that we've offered over spring break is our STEM program. We have 33 kids sign up for that as well. So that was a really neat new program that's being offered kind of more on the educational and exploration side of things. We were really excited to be able to offer that. Also wanted to mention we are obviously in budget season right now, so a lot of conversations with city management, with city council upcoming about what our budget will be, both the general fund as well as capital projects. So as those get approved in the coming months, I'll be sure to communicate those with you guys and make sure you're aware of those. The last thing I will mention is just some information on if people are interested in Yukon Parks and Recreation activities, where they can go to find out that information. You can go to yukonok.gov/fun. That's our website. It lists all of our upcoming programs and events. It provides a link to be able to sign up and register for programs. It includes all of our facility and park information. There's an opportunity on there. If you have a question for us, you can contact us. So all of our information is on there. You can also find a lot of information about our programs or events on the city's social media page. That's the City of Yukon, Oklahoma-government. And then you can also obviously call us anytime, 405-350-8937 if you ever have any questions. And that's all I've got on my end, Joe.
Okay, thanks, Ryan. Always a lot going on. When you have to catch up on 2 months during a busy season, it's a lot to cover there. So thanks for that report. All right, we'll move on to
Joe.
item.
I had a couple of questions, if that's all right.
Okay, go ahead.
Yep, no worries. I think you touched on it a little bit, Ryan, but was there any damage that you didn't talk about? I know you talked about a lot of cleanup, but I know a lot of power lines went down. Any of the parks sustain any notable damage?
A lot of tree limbs down, that sort of thing. Namely back in the trails, a lot of trees down that staff have gone through and cleaned up. Mostly just limbs, not a ton of big trees or anything. We did have a couple, but trees that we kind of knew probably were going to go down at some point anyways. The two power lines, that one of them smashed a fence in City Park, and then one of them landed in a parking lot. And so there's a big oil spill that is just going to leave a big stain out there. So you'll see that kind of out there by where the horseshoe pit is. But I know Public Works has done everything that they can to clean that up, and that's just kind of is what it is at this point. But and then the other one would be at Hillcrest Park. We had a light there for the softball field that's going to have to be repaired as well. So we're in the process of looking into some options on that. All of those poles are extremely old. I mean, we're talking decades old. And so you get winds like that, unfortunately some of that's going to happen.
No, absolutely. And then the one other question that I had, I know you talked about the seasonal hiring, and it sounds like that's in full swing and not impacted. But I know that there's a broader hiring freeze with the city. Does Parks and Rec have any open positions that are impacted by that?
That's still being discussed with city management. What city management has allowed up until this point is essential positions. In other words, if we didn't open the aquatic positions, the camp positions, we wouldn't be able to operate the pools or the camps. And so it was a major impact to the service. And so that's why those positions we've been allowed to hire for those.
Got it, but so no other open positions or backfills that were impacted by that?
There is a position that's being discussed at this point in time, and so we'll see where that goes. But wouldn't consider it to be an essential position currently. Yep.
Thanks, Ryan.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Okay, good questions. Thanks, Stephen. We can move on then to item 8, new business. Is there any new business? All right, we can move on then to item 9, which is open discussion. We can start with Stephen.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Ryan. As always, appreciate all the hard work, especially as we've discussed, and I asked about the wind damage, and fortunately, as far as I know, we didn't really have any fire issues here in the city limits. But again, appreciate all the hard work that the park staff puts in to keep things clean and looking nice. Pleased to continue to see progress. I know you mentioned Hillcrest. I know there's a lot of activity, whether it's at Hillcrest or the stuff at Centennial Park, or is it Centennial? Freedom Trail, new playgrounds, a lot of hard work that you've put in over the past 6 months, including cleaning up from Christmas in the park. Really enjoyed the trout fish out. I will say I would vote for moving it to a slightly bigger venue, or maybe changing how it's structured. It was extremely crowded. Lots of excited kids getting to fish. So really looking forward to all the spring sports and activities and the continued progress, and hopefully our sales tax numbers start to trend up. Shop in Yukon, everybody. North of 10th Street, right? So, thanks.
Okay, Carrie.
As always, just love all that you're doing for our city and the people in our city, allowing them to get out and have fun as a family. I had several families from the trout fish out call me to tell me what an amazing time their kids had. We had a whole cub pack from Mustang come over because they heard about it and they were so excited to do it. And they loved the race around the pond, by the way. That was hands down their favorite. But they had a great time, and the chocolate festival was great. And just seeing all the kids, I went by community center today and went in to do something, and all the kids laughing and having a good time at the spring camp, and just seeing all that in our city is amazing. I wish more people would take the time to get out and just see the hard work that you guys are putting into our kids, because they deserve it. And you guys are doing a fantastic job providing them with opportunities, and we just appreciate that.
Thank you. Tim?
Yeah, like the others, like the others said, always thank you for all the hard work, and I for one know what goes into everything that you guys do, and it is much appreciated because it's not easy to do it on a daily basis. I'm excited to get into the facilities and see some of the changes, especially Jackie Cooper, after all the time I spent there and the changes that have taken place, and just seeing Chisholm Trail Park transform from Christmas back to the growing and spring season in my backyard is always fun too. So time to get up outside and enjoy it. But again, always appreciate what you guys do.
Okay, Joe?
Okay, well, I kind of went by and looked at the new playground at Hillcrest, and I think it looks awesome. And once the city gets the sidewalk project completed, it'll be even more accessible to the neighborhoods there. So I think that's going to help that a lot. Other than that, you guys are doing great, and I know you got a lot on your plate, but I know you can handle it, so hang in there. That's it.
Thanks. I'd just like to add appreciation for all of the park leadership and employees. When we hear how we transition from the winter into the spring, and there's so much going on, but you know, it's all in service to the city and people around us. So I'd just like to give my appreciation for all the efforts and how we keep things rolling here. So that's all we have for open discussion. Our next meeting will be April 16th, back here again. This meeting is adjourned.